Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video I'm going to talk to you about my Fraser Island experience. The tour company that we decided to go with was called Fraser Adventure Tours, and we paid $454.50 for our day trip for both of us, and it's definitely one of the more pricey activities that we've done in our travel around the East Coast. But it's definitely something that I would say that you should definitely do if you get the chance. I was a bit unsure about doing it because it was so expensive, but it was definitely worth it, and I definitely recommend it if you're thinking about it or you're not too sure if you want to pay that money. I would definitely recommend it. So there was two places that you could get the bus from. There was Hervey Bay and Rainbow Beach, and we decided to stay at Rainbow Beach, and this was a really nice little town. It was quite nice because there were steps that went down to the beach, and they were painted rainbow colours, so that was quite cool. And I got a photo next to them, so I'll insert that just now. Also, when you walked around the town, the benches that were around the town were all painted rainbow as well, so that was really nice. You definitely got that kind of community vibe from the place. The only thing I would say about Rainbow Beach was it was kind of out of the way. It was obviously it's down near the shore, so it was quite a long drive into it and out if you wanted to go anywhere. But apart from that, it was a nice little town, and I definitely recommend visiting it and spending the day by the beach as well, because it was a really nice beach. So we're at the Rainbow Beach, and you can just see Liam just down there chilling. He's gone away for a wander, but it's absolutely stunning. It's like you're in a wee desert or something. It's quite cool. Like it's like a cliff, just, you know? It's amazing. Sun. One of the mornings that we stayed there, we actually decided to go to a town called Tin Can Bay, which is probably about half an hour drive from Rainbow Beach. I never knew about this place, but somebody told me about it, and they said that you could feed dolphins there. And I was like, well, we got to go and check this out. This was honestly like one of my favourite experiences of our travels around the East Coast. Like, I've always wanted to swim with the dolphins, feed the dolphins, that kind of thing. And it was literally something that we were looking at like a couple of days before we found out about Tin Can Bay. We were looking at swimming with the dolphins, and this was probably like $100 or Tin Can Bay. They offer you a chance to feed the dolphins, and it only cost you $5. And basically there was like this wee cafe, and at the side of the cafe the dolphins basically come every single morning without fail at about 7 o'clock in the morning. So it was an early start, and we arrived, and they basically take you through a talk about the dolphins and the history behind them. One of the dolphins basically came to the shore years ago, and they were really hurt, and they basically just came out of a shark attack, and this guy came down to the shore. They obviously saw the dolphin and tried to help him and basically heal him and set him back into the water. So one of the things that they did was feed them, and then the dolphin came back the next day looking for food, and they feed him again and again and again. So the dolphin went and told their friends and family about it, and then when we went there was about 5 or 6 dolphins that came up to the shore every single day without fail, and this was a result of one guy feeding them all these years ago, and they just kept coming back. It's basically a group of volunteers that come down every single morning and feed these dolphins, and obviously they invite the public to come in, and they charge you $5. So anyway, back to the Fraser Island experience. So we were picked up at the Rainbow Beach Lifesavers Surf Club at 7:30 in the morning, and it was a day trip, so we arrived back probably about 5-6 o'clock in the afternoon, and we got picked up by a 4-wheel drive air-conditioned bus. However, our bus, the aircon, was actually broken, and they didn't realise until obviously we got on the bus and we realised it didn't work, so there was nothing that they could do about that. So we probably had about a 10-minute drive to get to the boat, to essentially the pier, which obviously was not an actual pier, it was literally just like a beach. So anyway, we drove and the guy was talking about the day and what was going to be involved, and the guy was really informative, and he was definitely pulling out a lot of jokes as well, which made the experience even better because you could have a laugh, and he was kind of laid back. But yeah, we arrived to essentially the pier, and the boat came in and it lowered the ramp down onto the sand, and obviously the cars drove on. So yeah, we made it to the other side, and it was probably about 10-15 minute boat ride, and obviously same again, we were docked basically onto the sand. So this was along Fraser Island main road. There was all these rocks and everything that you had to cross over. There was also just water on the other side. Of course, it's like the beach, but in the next clip that you'll see, we're actually driving through the water, which is so crazy to me. But yeah, it was such a great experience. Like, here's the water just going under the bus. It was crazy. The drive-in rules in Fraser Island is the exact same as any other roads in Australia. Obviously you have to wear your seatbelt. The main road was like 80 kilometres an hour. The first place that we went to was Pyle Valley, and this was an area where there was lots of trees, and the certain type of trees that they were Fraser Island's iconic centenary trees. I think I'm pronouncing that right, but I could be completely wrong. But basically, if you look it up, these trees are like grown on Fraser Island and the surrounding areas of Fraser, and some of these trees are like 1,000 years old, so that is just crazy. But anyway, we went to this particular tree and it was really tall. I'll insert a picture of it just now. We took a wander into the kind of forest and we looked at the tree, and then we came back and we had morning tea, which was obviously a cup of tea or coffee and a muffin, and this was included in the package. Then we jumped back in the van and we had a drive to Lake Mackenzie, which was our next stop on the tour. The guy was telling us a lot of information about Fraser Island as we were driving, which was really nice. And then we got to see Lake Mackenzie, so we parked up and we had a short walk down to the lake, and this was honestly like one of my favourite things that we've done. It was all natural water as well, so you didn't have that horrible sticky feeling you get when you come out to sea or like a pool or anything. It was all natural water, and it was just like beautiful, like white sand, clear blue waters. This was the highlight of Fraser Island for me. So yeah, we had probably about an hour there to swim about and just kind of chill out for the look at the lake, and yeah. So I got lots of photos and videos of the lake, and then we headed back up the path and we were given lunch. And so this included, for me, I chose a ham salad roll, so we had that. We also got given fruits, and we also got a drink that was included as well, so you could get a soft drink or an alcoholic drink, depending on what you wanted. So they were just like stored in a esky, and then after lunch we hopped back into the bus and we headed down to the shore again, and we got to see the SS Mahino shipwreck. So this is a shipwreck that is about 10 kilometres away from Happy Valley, and the reason for this shipwreck was there was a cyclone in 1935 that basically brought it to shore. So this ship was setting out a journey from Melbourne to Japan, where it hit a cyclone and ended up found on the shore of Fraser Island. None of the 8 crew that were on board were injured, which was really lucky. They tried a lot to get it back and running, but then eventually just had to be abandoned, and it's still there today and it's just deteriorating. This was a really nice to go and see, and you could literally still see like the foundations of the ship, and there you could see some of the stuff that was inside it. It was also like sinking into the sand, of course, obviously, so you could actually see like I think it was maybe like 1 or 2 decks, but you could see that there was like one underneath that was still there. So the last stop of our trip was Ely Creek, and this was again fresh water, and it basically there was a boardwalk that went over it, and you basically walked up the boardwalk right to the end and then jumped in, and then you basically just swam to the bottom of the creek. It is very, very shallow and it was quite hard to swim. I think Liam actually ended up just walking down and I basically just floated. But if you get the chance to go to Fraser Island, I definitely recommend bringing like a rubber ring, because a lot of people had rubber rings that were there and they just looked like they got the most out of the experience. Obviously it was a day trip, and we basically ended up getting the last boat that was leaving Fraser Island to go back to Rainbow Beach. So we took a drive along the beach towards the boat, and we saw, I think it was like 2 or 3 dingoes.
So they've got like bait and old fish in that little fish thing, and they're running it over on that tide mark, and little bloodworms come up. They're really, really hard to catch. He's thinking he's going to get a feed out of these guys. You can see they're not shy, are they?
And then we headed back on the boat, and I was absolutely exhausted after a day in the heat. Like, yeah, I think I actually slept the whole way back pretty much. But yeah, it was a really good day out, and I definitely recommend it if you're thinking about doing it. There's obviously lots more places that you can explore on Fraser Island. That was just what the tour included for us. So yeah, that is the end of this video. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope you enjoyed hearing about my Fraser Island experience, and I hope as well that it motivates you to book your trip to Fraser Island, because it's definitely something that you don't want to leave out if you're travelling the east coast of Australia. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!